This is Late Night Health. This is the radio show that cares about the most important part of your life, your health. During the next hour, the insane Daryl Wayne and I are going to take a look at a number of health issues that touch each and every one of us. We'll end our show today talking with Robert Clancy about giving back. We're also going to take a look at a homeless problem here in Southern California, but I think that the same problem reaches across the country. And we're going to begin our show today by going to New York City. We're going to speak with Abhijeet Waghray. He is a gastroenterologist with the Vanguard Gastroenterology group in Manhattan. And earlier today, reluctantly, he told me I could sleep on his office couch should I ever get to New York. Dr. Waghray, welcome to Late Night Health.
Thanks for having me.
You finished your fellowship, I believe, a little over a year ago. You've been with Vanguard about a year now. Would you say that your training, which to me would be state of the art, is better than somebody who's been practicing for, say, 30 years? And I'm not trying to be disparaging to older doctors. I'm just curious.
That's a little complicated to answer because part of medicine is not only a science, but it's also an art. Certainly we get trained in the most latest and greatest of things coming out of training. Recently we get trained in a lot of new ideas and new medications and devices. But experience is just as important. So I wouldn't say that I'm any better than any other physician or any physician that's been practicing for much longer than me.
You don't have the maybe the experience that they do, but you can work together with. You may have some new techniques, and they have their thoughts about whatever may be happening. Within the last year, the medical profession has lowered the age for colon cancer screenings to 45 instead of 50. Is that because we're seeing more colon cancer cases?
So that's part of the case. Now, colon cancer is the third most common cancer in the United States. And screening efforts have been successful for the most part in driving down the incidence of colon cancer and the mortality related to colon cancer. And screening efforts over the last several decades. But what they were really looking at is what else could we do to help drive down that incidence of colon cancer even further? Because truly it's a preventable disease if we do the screening correctly. And when they looked at the data, they looked at large samples of data, and they found that we are finding colon cancer at a younger age. And so starting screening 5 years earlier in average risk patients would be of benefit, is what they're showing.
What about diet? Would diet have anything to do with that? A lot of people right now are saying, go vegan, go vegetarian, limit or eliminate meat of all kinds from your diet. Would that be one of the things that could be done to prevent colon cancer?
So a healthy diet in general is going to be good for any person, but I wish there was one diet we could say that works best to prevent cancers or colon cancer in general, but it just doesn't exist. Of course, getting an adequate amount of fruits and vegetables, fibers is very important, and certainly can't hurt.
And what's your take on meat? I mean, I limit my meat, but I do eat beef, chicken, lamb, pork, but I do limit it. I try to eat more vegetables, more plant-based foods. Has there been any evidence to show that is a better diet to prevent cancer?
So there are the data on that's a bit conflicting. There are a few studies that have shown that more of the lean meats, more of the lean protein is better and can be beneficial and may prevent colon cancer, specifically avoiding red meat. But the data is, again, conflicting. In general, what I always tell my patients, everything in moderation is probably the best practice.
All right, so let's be personal right now. What are you going to make for dinner tonight? I mean,
yeah, I don't always practice what I tell patients, unfortunately, but I do try to stick to more of the lean protein sources, such as chicken. I think probably tonight's going to be a chicken kind of night.
I as you know, living in New York City, which is the food capital of the world as far as I'm concerned, you have so many choices. You know, you've got everything from South American to deli. So it's very hard to eat super healthy.
The temptation is there.
Yes, exactly. Let's talk about, we talked about this earlier, the digital colon cancer screening or a digital colonoscopy. Is that a good choice? I mean, let's face it, the procedure itself is a snap. It's prepping for the procedure it's a pain. It's really, really disgustingly disgusting.
Yeah. The biggest challenge, I think, for patients for a colonoscopy is the prep, like you highlighted. The prep has improved a lot in the last several years. The solution that we're using now is much lower volume, tastes a little bit better, and actually there are even pills available now as a form of prep. So the preparation has improved a lot in the last several years. What I would say, there are several forms of screening available. Some are stool-based. There are imaging modalities available, and then colonoscopy. It really depends on the patient, the risk of colon cancer, and what their insurance is going to ultimately cover and what is considered first line. Usually, the stool-based tests and the colonoscopy are considered first-line testing, mainly because the digital versions of colon cancer screening still require preparation. So most patients wouldn't want to go through a preparation on the imaging modality just to find out they have a polyp and then have to repeat it for a colonoscopy.
Got it. And we see ads now for the stool-based testing all the time. And those are pretty accurate as well?
In average risk patients, they're one of the options for screening. That's correct.
Got it. Our guest is Abhijeet Waghray from the Vanguard Gastroenterology practice in Manhattan. I think they have 2 locations there. You can look them up at vanguardgastroenterology.com. They have a lot of doctors there, and Dr. Waghray is one of their new practitioners at Vanguard. I know this is going to sound funny. We're going to take a break, but I'm going to set up what we're going to talk about in just a couple of moments. Gas. People who let gas. I mean, they're farts. I want to know if they're healthy. If everybody does it, what can we do to prevent it? Should we prevent it? And we'll do that when we come back. This is Late Night Health. I'm Mark Alyn, along with the insane Daryl Wayne. Join us at latenighthealth.com. That's latenighthealth.com. We'll be back as Late Night Health moves forward. Late Night Health is proud of our partnership with the EBC, the Evolutionary Business Council. Check them out at ebcouncil.com.
You're listening to Late Night Health with Mark Alyn. The show continues in a moment.
There's a lot of talk all over the internet about the remarkable benefits of Carbon-60, and baby boomers are especially excited about it. Greska's Carbon-60 is the premium Carbon-60, developed by an aerospace and NASA scientist. 95% of Greska's customers report positive results from this Nobel Prize-winning technology in just 4 days. Imagine more energy, better health, and more vitality. It's very bioavailable to quickly mend toxin-crippled cells. This is a super powerful antioxidant. Bob Greska is so confident that you'll love his Carbon-60, he wants to send you a bottle at 50% off the regular price to see how life-changing this will be for you. Call 720-600-6040. That's 720-600-6040. Visit c-60.com to learn more. Call 720-600-6040 now or visit c-60.com.
If you're listening to Late Night Health right now, you're part of the growing target of baby boomers we're serving. Hi, I'm Daryl Wayne, producer of Late Night Health, inviting you to join the Late Night Health family. If you have any business targeting the growing boomer market, Late Night Health is the ideal advertising vehicle for you. From vitamins to insurance, alternative health to Western-style medicine, Late Night Health caters to the growing population of those over 40 years old. This vibrant demographic has expendable income to fight aging, purchase travel, take care of aging parents, or just have fun. Find out about the advertising opportunities with Late Night Health. Call us at 805-391-0308. That's 805-391-0308, or email us at info@latenighthealth.com. That's info@latenighthealth.com. Join Late Night Health as we empower people to take charge of their own health care. Call now at 805-391-0308. That's 805-391-0308.
The latest from the greatest, the best in new music by classic rockers, with your host, the insane Daryl Wayne.
This is Alice Cooper, and if Daryl Wayne is insane, what does that make me? Criminally insane. Stick around to find out.
Many of the artist interviews for the latest from the greatest have been captured on audiobook. There is a Volume 1 and Volume 2. Great information and conversations with people in the industry and people surrounded by the industry, and of course the rock stars themselves.
I'm the Reverend Al Green, and you're listening to the insane Daryl Wayne. And I said Wayne Insane.
You can find it on Amazon or Blackstone Audio. Search for the latest from the greatest from Daryl Wayne, Darrell Wayne.
Hello, this is Weird Al Yankovic, and you're listening to the insane Daryl Wayne, aren't you?
Recently, I met Jacqueline from Bright here in Los Angeles. She gave me a hearing exam and then showed me how to hear again with the new Signia Pure Series hearing aids, and she can give you your life back too. I hear birds chirping, birds cooing, and even my wife. They easily connect to my smartphone. The Signia hearing aids are amazing, and with the charge and go, I don't have to fiddle with batteries and hear all day long. Not hearing is frustrating for you and your family. I know you don't have a problem, but trust me, call Bright Here now for a free hearing exam, a $125 value, yours free, just for making an appointment now. There are offices throughout the Los Angeles area. Call Bright Here now at 323-424-7100. That's 323-424-7100 for a free hearing exam. There's no obligation. Call now, 323-424-7100, or visit them on the web at brighthere.com.
Sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Words are a critical aspect of success. How you get your point across is a crucial part of what makes anything sell. So do it right and hire a writer. Whether it's articles, blog posts, technical writings, website content, product descriptions, or ghostwriting anything from a novel to a nonfiction book about your navel, contact Servet Hassan. If you want it to sell, write it right. Email Servet at servet@servethassan.com.
Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Alyn, along with the insane Daryl Wayne. Our guest is Abhijeet Waghray. He is a gastroenterologist. And we're talking about, tummy issues, tummy problems. Do most people have, some kind of stomach issue that they need to see a gastro doctor?
Yeah, I mean, gastro issues are definitely very common, and especially with the gastro health tied with stress in general, and this being a very stressful year, I feel like there's a lot of gastro issues out there.
I mentioned farting. Is that necessarily a bad thing or a good thing? And how can we tell if it is one or the other?
Yeah, so it's not necessarily a sign that something is wrong. Passing gas is a completely normal bodily function. But signs that something else may be going on are if you're also having abdominal pain, you're having diarrhea, changes in bowel habits, any blood in the stool. These are all signs that maybe something else is going on that needs to be worked up.
But just letting gas, everybody does it?
Everybody does it. It's completely normal.
It is. Wow. Well, that's good news. Because, we don't want to grow up to be stinky old men. That would be not such a good thing, right?
That's never the goal, right?
Never the goal. Never the goal. In the last few years, we've heard something called fatty liver disease, I suppose. What is fatty liver disease, or is it a disease?
Yeah, so fatty liver is actually an increasing problem in the United States, and most people think that it's under-recognized in the general population. It's estimated that it affects about 25% of the adult population, depending on what study you look at, and it's probably the most common chronic liver disease that we see. Fatty liver is really characterized by the body storing excess fat in the liver over time. And over time, that fat can actually lead to inflammation of the liver, cellular turnover, eventually scarring of the liver, which is called fibrosis, and then after a very long time, even liver failure.
Oh, so it's a serious condition.
Yeah, it can be, and it's why, the goal is always to prevent or slow down the progression to liver failure, and actually to prevent scarring from setting in at all. So that's why it's very important to try to identify patients with fatty liver.
How can this be prevented?
So fatty liver is usually treated or prevented by healthy dietary choices and exercise in general. If the body is taking this excess fat and storing it, that means we're ingesting an unhealthy amount of fatty products. And that's why the body has to store it into the liver.
The people in France eat a lot of goose liver and a lot of fat, a lot of butter, yet they seem to have a lower cardiovascular and gastroenterological issues than we do in America. Are you familiar with that?
It's hard to say why that's the case. Part of it from the GI perspective may be that their microbiome may be a little bit different. We know that the microbiome differs in different parts of the world, and that certainly can play a role there. That area is still an area under research, and we don't fully understand that.
Got it. And it's an ongoing issue because when you go to France, everybody eats heavy amounts of olive oil, lots of butter, and we don't do that here in the United States, at least not as much. IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, has also been in the news in the last number of years. This is another issue that gastroenterologists care for. Can you tell us about this disease?
Correct. Yeah. So irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS, is really a constellation of symptoms. It's abdominal pain. Patients can have bloating. Some can have constipation, diarrhea. There's a whole host of different symptoms that can be identified under irritable bowel syndrome. It's usually, there's several factors that may trigger IBS. One of them is food sensitivities. Another is stress. The other factor is this changing of the gut profile, something called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And this is something that we've started to learn more about in the last several years, and actually have ability to test for intestinal overgrowth of bacteria and treat it if that's the case. So there's certainly more treatment options available from IBS standpoint than there were a few years ago.
So IBS can be caused by a bacteria. Wow. That is
it can be caused by the change in the gut flora. Yeah.
And well, what about things like, probiotics, prebiotics are very popular right now. Are you a fan of these or not?
So that's where it gets a little tricky from the probiotic and prebiotic, because it's an area that we're still researching and understanding. There are some probiotics that have been studied and have shown benefit in certain conditions, but the vast majority that are out there, we have to be careful about, if they, what type of bacteria they have, and if they're truly beneficial. Usually a good rule of thumb is if we want to try something out, we can try it for a few weeks, and if it doesn't seem to provide benefit, then we can try something else or move on.
What about things like yogurt, which, if you get a live cultured yogurt that has living bacteria?
Yeah, yogurts, again, some of these studies have been done looking at yogurt, and depending on what condition, what we're trying to treat exactly, they've shown some benefit. I think the biggest thing that people should know about IBS, though, is given that how many symptoms can fall under this IBS diagnosis, it's important to make sure that we don't have something else going on within the GI tract that needs to be worked up, and not just attribute it to irritable bowel syndrome. So to do at least be evaluated, make sure that there's nothing else going on, and if it is irritable bowel syndrome, then we can start to focus on symptom management.
Well, I've enjoyed our conversation, Dr. Waghray, and appreciate your time today. We look forward to the opportunity of getting updates from you on gastro issues as they happen. And if you want information on the Vanguard Gastroenterology group, go to VanguardGastroenterology.com. We'll also have Dr. Waghray's picture and a link to the website, the Vanguard website, at latenighthealth.com. And, of course, be sure to visit us at latenighthealth.com. Doctor, again, thank you very much for joining us. We're going to move on right now. I'm Mark Alyn, along with the insane Daryl Wayne. More coming up as we continue here at Late Night Health.